June 2011. Copyright Acknowledgement. New Revised Standard Version Bible, copyright 1989, Division of Christian Education of the National Council of the Churches of Christ in the United States of America. Used by Permis Sion. All rights reserved. New Revised Standard Version Bible. Anglicized Edition, copyright 1989, 1995, Division of Christian Education of the National Council of the Churches of Christ in the United States of America. Used by permission. All rights reserved. Quranic quotes. Most of the quotations from the Quran are taken from Quran. The Final Testament, Authorized English Version, translated from the original Arabic, by Rashad Khalifa, copyright 1990, as published by United Submitters International, 2010. As mentioned earlier, Drive. Khalifa translated several verses specifically for my book before his own translation was published. Therefore, those verses that he translated specifically for me introduction, she are marked as coming from Quran, while all others are marked as coming from Quran. The Final Testament. Understanding Islam Introduction. It's important to understand that Islam is simply an Arabic word which means submission to God. One who submits to God is a Muslim, an Arabic word which means submitter. Anyone can be a Muslim if he or she worships God alone. From the Quran, chapter 2, verse 62. Surely, those who believe, those who are Jewish, the Christians, and the converts, anyone who 1 believes in God, and 2 believes in the last day, and 3 leads a righteous life, will receive their recompense from their Lord. They have nothing to fear, nor will they grieve. This shows that all believers are united in the worship of one God. Allah is simply the Arabic word for God, just as Dios is the Spanish word for God. It's one and the same God. And everyone is equal in the sight of God, men and women, black and white, rich and poor. The only thing that distinguishes us is our righteousness. O people, we created you from the same male and female, and rendered you distinct peoples and tribes, that you may recognize one another. The best among you in the sight of God is the most righteous. God is omniscient, cognizant. 49:13 Your congregation is but one congregation, and I alone am your Lord. You shall worship me alone. 21:92 The verses quoted in this pamphlet are from the Quran, but it is important to understand that the Quran tells us to respect and study previous scripture, the Old and New Testaments, as well. He sent down to you this scripture, truthfully, confirming all previous scriptures, and he sent down the Torah and the Gospel before that, to guide the people, and he sent down the statute book. Those who disbelieve in God's revelations incur severe retribution. God is Almighty, Avenger. 3:3-4 As you read the articles in this brochure, you will see that Islam is a religion of peace, tolerance, harmony and justice. If you find it interesting, you can get more information at our website https://www.masjidison.org or contact us at 520-323-7636. Life as a Muslim. Islam is a way of life. It permeates all aspects of your day. By recognizing that God is in full control of everything. To God belongs everything in the heavens and everything on earth, and all matters are controlled by God. 109. Muslims are able to submit their will to the will of God and know that everything that happens, happens for a reason. Nothing happens to you except in accordance with God's will. Anyone who believes in God, He will guide his heart. God is fully aware of all things. 64:11 Islam was not founded by Muhammad. He was the prophet through whom the Quran was revealed. But Islam, submission to God, has been around since Adam and Eve. There are certain practices which are part of Islam. These practices were given by God to Abraham and passed from generation to generation, and they help us focus on God, so that we can grow in our submission. They are sometimes referred to as the 5 pillars of Islam. The Declaration of Faith Shahada, the Declaration of Faith or Shahada, is simply asserting that there is only one God. We say, I bear witness that there is no God but God. He is the only God and he has no partners. This has been distorted by Muslims adding the phrase, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. God tells us clearly not to mention any names with his, and he tells us not to make distinctions among the messengers. So when we declare our faith, we must be careful to devote it absolutely to God alone. He is the living, there is no God except he. You shall worship him alone, devoting your religion absolutely to him alone. Praise be to God, Lord of the universe. 65. The contact prayers Salat. We do 5 daily prayers called the contact prayers Salat. These are specific prayers assigned to specific time periods throughout the day. They cause us to pull away from the distractions of this world and put our focus back on God. This is why God spaced them all through the day. You shall recite what is revealed to you of the scripture, and observe the contact prayers Salat, for the contact prayers prohibit evil and vice. But the remembrance of God through Salat is the most important objective. God knows everything you do. 45. The obligatory charities Zakat. God commanded us to be as charitable as we can without being excessive. To help overcome our natural stinginess, he decreed Zakat, or obligatory charity, 2.5% of net income. This is to be given as soon as we receive income, and it is to be given to those in need, starting with our own family. If the world followed this system, with everyone helping out his or her relatives, there would be no poverty. In addition to Zakat, we are encouraged to help others as much as we can. Any charity you give is for your own good. Any charity you give shall be for the sake of God. Any charity you give will be repaid to you, without the least injustice. 272. Fasting Ramadan. We fast during the Islamic month of Ramadan. From dawn until sunset, Muslims don't eat or drink anything. Once the sun sets and night begins, we break the fast with grateful appreciation of God's gifts to us. This truly helps us to think about God at all times of the day, and also to think about how fortunate we are to have the variety and abundance of food and other blessings. O you who believe, fasting is decreed for you, as it was decreed for those before you, that you may attain salvation. Specific days are designated for fasting. If one is ill or traveling, an equal number of other days may be substituted. Those who can fast, but with great difficulty, may substitute feeding one poor person for each day of breaking the fast. If one volunteers more righteous works, it is better. But fasting is the best for you, if you only knew. 183. For pilgrimage Hajj. We are commanded to go on Hajj, or pilgrimage, once during our lifetime, if we can afford it. This involves traveling to Mecca in Saudi